So this is the place, Ter Kadamba, where Krishna used to come. And Krishna used to, in this place, herd his cows. And it said in the evening he would climb into a Kadamba tree and would call out the names of the leaders of his various herds of cows. And he used to have a japamala of jewels of 108 beads, and he would count his 108 herds of cows on these beads. So that's Krishna's japa. He's chanting the names of his cows, and in this way he is very pleased. So Ter Kadamba is famous as such a place. The other reason why it is very famous is because this is the place where Srila Rupa Goswami had his bhajan kutir. And as is commonly stated, whether it's true or not, I don't know, that he wrote here his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Maybe not, doesn't really matter, does it? It is Rupa Goswami's place, and we can focus on his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu a little bit. I have a book which gives like a summary and overview of it, so I'll read a little bit here and there in that book. Can I get the other sound system? Because this is really Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'm happier now. So we can read a little bit. The two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, along with their younger brother Anupam, the father of Jiva Goswami, came from a village named Prembagh in the Jessore district in East Bengal. Even as young men, they were very brilliant personalities and were therefore forcibly recruited in the service of the Nawab Hussain Shah. In the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is mentioned that the Shah, Hussain Shah, made an offer that Rupa and Sanatan could not refuse. And that offer basically was, either you join government service or I will kill the entire Brahmin community. Not you, no, not you. I kill the Brahmins. See, if they said, either you join or we kill you, they would have probably said, yeah, go ahead, no problem. But they did not want to take the responsibility for the entire Brahmin community to be wiped out. So that's how they joined government service. Very convincing argument. So then they accepted a post in the government, and in that capacity Rupa Goswami was known as Dabir Kas, private secretary, and Sanatan Goswami as Sakar Malik. The seat of the government was in Goda, that is north of Mayapur. From Navadvip you take the train 12 hours and you get into the Malda district, and that's where at the time the seat of the government was. If you go there, you'll find Ramakeli. In Ramakeli you can still find the palace of the Nawab. It looks a little, there's ruins of it. There are galleries which look a little European, a little bit Gothic arches, and then next to it, not far away at least, is a tomb which they say was the jail where Sanatan Goswami was kept. Also one can find there deities of Madan Mohan, which everyone says were installed by Rupa and Sanatan themselves. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. One can find a Lalita Kund, one can find a Shama Kund, one can find a Radha Kund, and one can find a Vishaka Kund, and even some other kunds, which were all relating to really what was part of the life of Rupa and Sanatan when they were in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, obviously, Sanatan Goswami installed Madan Mohan, in Vrindavan, Sanatana Goswami would daily circumambulate Govardhan, and he would also, up to his old age, and then he would, when he couldn't really walk around anymore, he would do a Govardhan Shila. So in this way, he was always circumambulating Govardhan, and in the course of that, passing by Radhakund, Shyamakund. So whether this was really there in the time of Rupa and Sanatan, if it was, then they must have done so on the basis of scripture that they made around Radhakund and Shyamakund, because at that time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not yet been in Vrindavan, he had not yet discovered Radhakund and Shyamakund. Anyway, in the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is mentioned that Sanatana Goswami, when he was a young man, he had a dream, and in that dream a Brahmana appeared, and that Brahmana offered him Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was very happy with that, because Srimad Bhagavatam was very rare. I think some of us have Srimad Bhagavatam on our phone. I have Srimad Bhagavatam on the phone, on the iPad. I have 2 Srimad Bhagavatams, full sets with me right now. I don't know if any of you have the Bhagavatam, but nowadays Bhagavatam is everywhere, so easily available. But at that time Bhagavatam was very rare. So somehow or other, when Sanatana Goswami had that dream, he was very happy, because he was getting the Bhagavatam. Then he woke up and it was only a dream. But later that day, that Brahmana actually came and brought the Bhagavatam. So then it was very ecstatic. Yes. So Sanatana Goswami writes in the Krishna Malastava that the Bhagavatam was his constant companion, always. So Bhagavatam was really the central book. So in this way we can appreciate that Rupa and Sanatan were they were the leaders of the 6 Goswamis who established and excavated many holy places in Vrindavan. In the year 1552, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, is supposed to have finished the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in Vrindavan. The place, Srila Prabhupada writes, let's see what. By rough calculation, it is estimated, Srila Prabhupada writes, that Srila Rupa Goswami finished Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the year 1552. While physically present, Srila Rupa Goswami was living in different parts of Vrindavan, and his headquarters were in the temple of Radha Damodar, in the present city of Vrindavan. The place of Rupa Goswami's bhajan, execution of devotional service, is commemorated still. There are 2 different tomb-like structures in the Radha temple. One structure is called his place of bhajan, and in the other his body is entombed. Behind this very tomb I have my place of bhajan, but since 1965 I've been away. The place, however, is being taken care of by my disciples. By Krishna's will, I'm now residing at the Los Angeles Temple of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This purport is finished today, the 30th of June, 1969. So, like that, Srila Prabhupada wrote. Srila Prabhupada would say Goswami means master of the senses. And so he pointed out that Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis were masters of the senses, and according to the Nectar of Instruction, therefore suitable to be spiritual masters of the entire world. Srila Prabhupada continues to explain and says, we are followers of Rupa Goswami. we remember Nana Shastra Vichara Naikanipano Sadharma Samstapako, that Rupa and Sanatan had studied many scriptures and collected quotes from these scriptures and established the absolute truth on the basis of that. So that is really the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is a book where with many quotes from many scriptures, basically. It's composed like that. And that's the idea, that it would create a foundation for the pure devotional principles taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it begins on a high note. The nectar, or the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, begins on a high note because it describes that Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti. Akila Rasamrita Murti is that Krishna is the complete reservoir of pleasure, or the reservoir of all rasas. Now the point that is being made is that this is basically the situation of the spiritual world, where Krishna maintains eternal relationships with various devotees who are attracted to serve him in different rasas. And the rasas are mentioned, Madhurya, Vatsalya, Sakya, Dasya, Santa, as direct rasas, and then 7 indirect rasas within these 5 rasas, which are Hasya, laughter, Adbhuta, astonishment, Vira, chivalry, Karuna, compassion, Rodra, anger, Bhayanaga, dread, and Bibhatsa, ghastliness. A little bit of ghastliness is also there. We're also having that in our lives, some horror movies or something. That's also part of a relationship, ghastliness. So we are looking at a book that describes pure devotional service, and that is really so what can we say? Here our meditation, what else could it be but pure devotional service in Ter Kadamba? So we had already a number of meditations today, and the first one, what was it again?
Krishna is our best friend.
What?
Krishna is our best friend.
Best friend, okay, that was good. As Satchinanda Maharaj always says, you know everything. And the second one, what was that?
Attracting the mercy of
How to attract Krishna, yeah. To do something so that we can attract Krishna who meets us midway. Right. And this is exactly the topic of the Nectar of Devotion, because in the Nectar of Devotion it is saying Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti. He is there in the association of various gopis and basically and other eternal associates. In other words, that's the situation of the spiritual world. And what is the prerequisite to attain that? Anyabilasita sunyam jnana karmadya navritam anukulyena krishnanam shilanam bhakti uttama. To be free from any other desire, to give up desire for liberation, to give up the desire to enjoy the senses, but to cultivate pure devotional service of Krishna and in a favorable mood. And that is called pure devotional service. So in this way it is said, through pure devotional service we can attain that spiritual world. And then in the next major verse, Srila Rupa Goswami begins to explain what happens. Klesagni, he says. Klesagni. All suffering is destroyed. Well, that's important, because I don't know about you, but I know about me. So much suffering in this material world. Now my voice is not cooperating. My legs are also stopping to cooperate today. It's suffering from mind, body, suffering from your neighbors, from other living entities. When we arrived, there was as I said before, there was a big black snake here and welcoming us. Anyway, such is also the case. So, suffering from other living entities and suffering from natural circumstances. But all that is destroyed by pure devotional service. And everything becomes auspicious. Everything. Let's see, where is this now? Everything, where's this auspicious thing? Aha, yes, I have it here. Pure devotional service has been described as all auspicious. This all auspiciousness, according to Rupa Goswami, has three qualities, and these are listed below. Jagat Prinani Deva Ja Praditvam, possessing love for all living entities and becoming the object of affection for all living entities. Sat Gunadi Pradatvam, bestows all good qualities, and Sukha Pradatvam, bestows happiness. So, love for all living entities and becoming the object of affection for all living entities, all good qualities, and happiness. These three things is why it is auspicious. So it is important that we actually appreciate that. So Prabhupada would say that as soon as we take up the life in Krishna consciousness, everything becomes auspicious. He says, these Krishna conscious boys and girls in 60 centers, they're living in the best houses, they're eating the best food, they're in the best consciousness, they have got the best hope, everything best, their feature of body is best. What material happiness do you want more than this? They've got wife, children, happiness, home, everything full. So material happiness is nothing to a Krishna conscious person. Material happiness will roll at his feet saying, please take me. There's no need for asking for it. Simply be steady and ask Krishna, please engage me in your service. Then your satisfaction will automatically come. Don't bother for material happiness. From a lecture in New York. So it's really nice how Prabhupada had this amazingly positive outlook, right? Ultra positive. We don't always see everything so positive. We sometimes think that, oh, this is difficult, that is difficult. But Prabhupada didn't see anything, everything best. Right? Everything best. Best place, best houses, best food, best consciousness, best hope. Hope to go back to God at best. Everything best. Body best. What material happiness do you want more than this? So, and that is actually true if you think about it. But we can't see because of our conditioning. We don't see it's best. I may say this place is best because we're in Vrindavan and Ter Kadamba, it's best. Someone may say, oh, but there's noise over there. Yeah, there is, but who cares, you know. It's still best, even with noise. Although I don't like noise when others are making it. My own noise I like very much. So, I spoke about this Sri Krishna Akarsani, that pure devotional service attracts Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna Akarsani kritva harim prema bhajam priya varga samanvitam bhaktir vasi karu titi. Sri Krishna Akarsani mata. Prema bhakti is called Krishna Akarsani. That is possessing the powers of attracting Krishna. Because such bhakti charms Krishna into complete submission. Because of the devotees' endearing love and affection for him and his entourage. So, we are here also because of love, right? We're not here because we get paid. We're not here because we have to. Right? Nobody is forced. We're here voluntarily. We wanted to be here. Some may be sorry, like why did I choose to be here? Right? But maybe not. So some love is there, something. We came out of love. Maybe it's not so deep yet, but it's love in an earlier seed form, and it will mature. For some, Ter Kadamba is a first time today. For others, Ter Kadamba is a returning to a place where they've been many times. And for me, it's a place where I'm interested in connecting with Rupa Goswami. Because Prabhupada points out we have to be followers of Rupa Goswami. He is giving us the building stones of our spiritual life. The nectar of devotion is basically giving us the ingredients how to make a spiritual life. We have to construct a spiritual life. There are different elements that have to be part of our spiritual life. It's not just that, oh well, now I've decided I'm going to be a devotee. No, then there are so many things that we make part of our spiritual life. And the nectar of devotion gives us all these things in detail. So that's why the book is very important. It's like a book that explains to us how to build our spiritual life. What ingredients should be part of it. Well, it says, for one thing, it says sadhana bhakti. When a materially conditioned soul begins devotional service in practice, this practice is known as sadhana bhakti. And it is mentioned that bhakti is generally a continuation from a previous life and is further awakened. That Rupa Goswami says. So already we were devotees before, but we didn't make it. We were not successful. So if you think about that, what did we do wrong? And maybe we're doing some things wrong in this life also, and therefore this life we may also not make it. And if we are doing some things wrong this life, what would these things be? What would it be that we know we should improve, but that we are not improving? Because we don't want another life in the material world. And even if we want, then our spiritual master doesn't want us to have. Even if we think, well, I wouldn't mind just one more. No. And what about curiosity? Well, one more life to come back and see how Lord Chaitanya's movement unfolds. Yeah, but you might just fall into Maya on the way. Right? So better go back to Godhead now. Right? Let's get out of here. We're not so qualified to be so heroic. I'll come back to deliver for Sankirtan. Yeah. Sure. Right? Let's see. It's not so cheap. So it begins, we just cultivate, we practice devotional service. Then the next stage, we get devotional service in ecstasy. And then we get devotional service in pure love. Like this, we cultivate. So taste is very essential, right? When we are practicing, if we have some taste, it becomes easier. Otherwise, this practice is very difficult if it's austerity. So, it says, for persons who have a natural taste for understanding books like Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is easier than for those who are simply accustomed to mental speculation or argumentative processes. Taste comes from two things, from previous life and from association with devotees, it is said. Yeah. So, in this way we must cultivate our Krishna consciousness. Krishna is all attractive, yet some people have turned away from him and now want to exploit the material energy for their own sense enjoyment. However, devotees create all kinds of opportunities for devotional service, and people may engage in devotional service even unknowingly. Huh? So yes, we should look for the opportunities created by the devotees. Huh? There are many devotees that are senior to us, more advanced in Krishna consciousness. And these devotees that are more advanced than us, they have created opportunities for us to advance. And we take advantage of these opportunities, whatever it may be. Huh? We take advantage. So in this way, and at the same time, we are creating opportunities for others who are less advanced than us, so that they can advance. And in this way, everyone is advancing in Krishna consciousness. An interesting thing is that here's a definition from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about what sadhana bhakti is. And it says, when transcendental devotional service by which love for Krishna is attained is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service in practice. So, what is interesting to me is that this devotional service is executed by the senses. Because usually we think of the senses like black snakes, actually. I mean, got inspired by that snake. And it is said the senses are compared to black snakes. They bite us. They attack us. So this is a complication. Yes. So, but now these same senses are engaged in the service of Krishna. It is through these very senses that we do devotional service. So it's very interesting. The same things that were binding us and bringing us down, the very same things that caused all the problems for us. You know, we couldn't control our senses in this way and that way, and we made a mess of our life. And now these very same senses are going to liberate us if we are executing devotional service with our senses. And that's the idea. So somehow or other, engage the senses in devotional service. So we may not have strong faith. So we need the association of advanced devotees, of great souls, because then attraction develops, and then, but also some attachment to fruitive activity and sense gratification will remain. So we'll have both, attraction to Krishna and attraction to Maya. And that will be our situation for quite a while, attraction to both. So we have to rise above this, and we remember Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's two dogs, right? He had this dream about the two dogs, and the two dogs were fighting. And it said, which one will win? And the answer that came, the one that you feed, that one will win. So it is a fight. We're attracted to Krishna by the mercy of by the association with great devotees. And we're attracted to Maya, to old habits. And now who will win? Krishna or Maya? Oh, who will win? Krishna or Maya? Oh, who will win? The one who we feed. So we have to feed our devotional service. Feed our devotional tendency more and more. That's the only way. That's the only way to become free from suffering. Otherwise we'll suffer. Pursue this dream, that dream, will suffer. Any relationship we want in this world, if Krishna is not part of it, what's the use of it? You can fall in love 100 times, no use, if Krishna is not part of it. Krishna has to be in the center of that relationship to make it work. That's the key. That's the essence. That's where Maya will be overcome. That's where weakness will be overcome. No one in this world is perfect. No one has all good qualities. Huh? So many people get married, so it's a given that you're going to get married to someone who has many faults. I guarantee you. I'll give it in writing. Stamp it, everything, you know, and put my name on it. Guaranteed. You're going to find someone who has weaknesses. So bring in strength. Bring in devotional service. Make it work through devotional service. No relationships works without devotional service, even when it seems that people get on very nicely, but if there's no devotional service, then so nicely they're going to hell together. That's not so nice, right? Devotional service, and even if you're fighting like cats and dogs, if there's devotional service, at least you're fighting on the way to the spiritual world. That's better than just being peacefully on the way to hell, isn't it? If you think about it. Yeah. So fight, devotees. Fight. If that's what you have to do. If you can't help it, fight, but at least do devotional service. Right? Of course, if you don't fight and peacefully go to the spiritual world, that's better. It's preferred. Right? But whatever it takes. Alright, let me just move on a little bit. Yeah, so there are so many limbs of bhakti. So many limbs. 64 aspects of bhakti. And by engaging in these 64, we can make so much spiritual advancement. The first one is Sri Guru Padasraya, taking shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Guru. The second one is taking initiation and receiving spiritual instruction. The third one is serving the Guru with love. So these strings are there: taking shelter, receiving initiation, spiritual instruction, and serving with love. Okay, with love, you know. First, before love, we serve out of fear. We serve out of fear. Why out of fear? Well, first of all, the Shastra is creating a lot of fear in our heart because the Shastra is very strong about disobeying the order of the spiritual master. So that creates some fear. If you don't follow the order of the spiritual master, what will happen? You're ruined. Your spiritual life is finished. Right? Disaster. Or you dry up if it is not so serious. If it is a minor thing, then you just dry up. If it's a major thing you disobey, then it's just disastrous. If it's a minor thing you disobey, then you become slack and you dry up. That's one thing. But there's another reason why we are afraid of the spiritual master. Because, let's be frank, never ever before did we have anyone in our life who had so much authority over us. You know, even your parents, right? You know, even when you were a kid, you went through the no phase, right? No, no, no. Kids, they go through it, you know, they discover they can say no, and then everything is no. No, no. Of course you can catch them. Would you like some ice cream? Yes. So there are ways around it to get through that no phase, but still, at one point it's a discovery that you can say no, and that you don't have to do everything your parents say. So even your parents don't have that level of authority over you. Nobody has, even not the government. Come on, you know. They're not Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I mean, sometimes, you know. Sometimes you cut a few corners. Sometimes some civil disobedience. And some are outright criminals. And while I'm saying that, I'm looking at a lawyer. Not to say that he's a criminal, but But oftentimes, kind attracts kind, so they say. Anyway, so we are experiencing our limitations. So yes, but we are practicing these 64 limbs of devotional service and try to not serve our spiritual master out of fear, but to trust him. To trust him, actually. Say, okay, like I'm not going to be afraid, even if he tells me to go to China, okay, I'll go to China. Yeah? I mean, or even if he tells me to go to New York, I'll go to New York. In my case, he just told me to go to New York. I'm going to New York. Not exactly what I wanted, but New York. Why not? And then to take the desire of the spiritual master and wear it like a jewel on the head. That's the next thing. To not just take it, but to really take it. Happily. Not reluctantly.
Hare Krishna. First Dandavat and take prasadam sweet rice. Understand?
ठीक है.
All are?
जी आ रहे हैं.
हाँ. हिंदी भी जाने?
जी हाँ.
बांग्ला भी बोल. आसुन.
আপনার ইচ্ছে যদি বাংলা বলতে পারেন আমি বাংলা বলবো.
আমি বাংলা শিখলা.
যখন আপনার ইচ্ছে তখন আমি করব. কোনো অসুবিধা নেই.
ভালো.
ঠিক আছে. আসছি. 2 মিনিট পর তো সব তো শেষ করে দিলাম.
Our names were all are sweet rice offering our Rupa Goswami. So all are take sweet rice and pakori. Go pass to me. Second day.
Go bar.
Go bar.
Abnar kripa. Okay, anyway, he's right because it's late anyway. It's 2:30. So that is good. I was getting carried away here with Rupa Goswami, and I can't do the whole nectar devotion. It's too much nectar all at once. So I have to leave it. But before I leave it, this relationship with the spiritual master should become our greatest treasure. And in this relationship with the spiritual master, we must somehow or other have full faith. When Lord Nityananda goes in the liquor store, we are not questioning, is there something wrong with him? No. We're saying, he must go there to give the mercy. So we must have great faith in our spiritual master, like this. And we must somehow or other offer our whole existence in that relationship. Not only in service, but also in becoming what he wants us to become, not in what we want to be. Not that we use our spiritual master to be what we want to be. Can you please bless this? Yes. I want to become an opera singer. Could you please bless this? No, I would prefer you to kirtan. Okay. Bless you for that. Forget the opera. In this way, to become what he wants us to become. It is like that. So this Guru Padas Raya, Ado Guru Padas Raya is the first of Rupa Goswami's principles. That is the most important. That is, everything rests on that. Whatever else we do in devotional service, Ado Guru Padas Raya is always with us. That's what it means. When it says, of the 64 limbs, Ado Guru Padas Raya that is the first. That means that this is the foundation of everything we do. This should always be there. And we should invest in that relationship. That's when it will happen. That's when we'll break through to the other side. Yes. Anyavilasita sunyam. To the other side. Right? I knew you know that. That's the real other side. The side of Krishna. Okay, let us not waste our time. There is sweet rice. Let us go and let us get some of that sweet rice. And if the Baba will do some lila with someone, we will also go through that. Because usually he does. But he's been very busy today. So we'll see what happens. Then we return to Vrindavan and we have our meditation now. Here we're trying to come to pure devotional service. We're trying to here do so by becoming a complete dedicated servant of our spiritual master, and to always think of his satisfaction. So we can pray to Rupa Goswami, who is our original spiritual master, for that, and we can remember that Krishna is our best friend, and we can remember that we should do something, a plan. I hope you made a plan in Sanket, a plan to attract Krishna. And if you didn't do it there, you can still do it now. And if you don't have time to do it now, you can still do it tonight when we come home, somehow or other. Let us make a plan to attract Krishna, and then here, let us somehow or other serve our spiritual master to the fullest extent. Then surely we will attract Krishna, because the spiritual master is dear to Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. We say he's dear to Krishna, and because he's dear to Krishna, therefore whoever serves a person dear to Krishna, Krishna becomes inclined. So yes, I will give you my mercy, because you served one who's dear to me. Thank you very much. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Bhaktavatsala, where are you? Where's that bag with the books? Here. Okay, I have a few books left that I would like to go. I have given these books to many of my disciples, but I have a few left, which I'll give away today for a donation, whatever you give from the heart. And this book is then a summary of the Nectar of Devotion. So those who are eager and quick should come.